It somehow got better for the Edmonton Oilers as Leon Draisaitl makes his return to the Oiler lineup and single-handedly, or almost seemed like he single-handedly took down the Calgary Flames last night. All that and more today on Oilers Digest as we break down that one from last night. But first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, folks, make sure you do so. If you're part of the 76% that haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button down below. But before we get into the game recap from last night, there was a medical emergency at Rogers Place shortly after puck drop. The game was delayed for quite a bit as there was a medical emergency behind the benches. So again, thoughts to the fan. That went through that last night. Hopefully, a very speedy recovery. Lots of things are more important than hockey, and that is one of them. So again, thoughts to that fan. But folks, back like he never left. Yes, number 29, Leon Draisaitl of the Oilers made his return to the Oiler lineup and made his presence known as the Oilers take down the Calgary Flames 3-2 in overtime. And what was it, a playoff tight battle? Lots of physicality, lots of tight defensive play. Credit to the Calgary Flames. I mean, they held the Oilers at bay for a significant part of the game until Leon Draisaitl took over. But almost 5 minutes into the first period, Yegor Sharangovich, off of a shot from Nazem Kadri that rebounded off of Cal Pickard, who got the start for the Oilers last night, makes it 1-0 Flames. But Victor Arvidsson, with a one-timer pass from Leon Draisaitl, makes it 1-1 heading into the third period. And of course, the second period. Before the second period ended, lots of physicality. Of course, Mikhail Backlund gave Cal Pickard a he snowed him in his crease, and Corey Perry, after the comments following the Dallas game, with trying to protect his goaltenders, he lived up to his words, and he more so went after Mikhail Backlund. So again, lots of physicality, and good for Corey Perry to sticking to his word and sort of showing a message to the rest of the team. This is not just a message to the rest of the team, but a message to the rest of the league. Hey, this is what happens if you touch our goalie. But in the third period, Braden Bahal makes it 2-1 Flames, and it looked all but finished. But Leon Draisaitl from a fantastic, I mean, that whole play was fantastic. Darnell Nurse breaking up a partial breakaway, or what seemed to be a partial breakaway for the Calgary Flames, and an Evan Bouchard, it was, a split-second decision, backhand pass, very Draisaitl-esque to Leon Draisaitl, and Draisaitl from a very sharp angle beats Dustin Wolf, sending this one to overtime. And of course, the power of German engineering took over. As you can see, that is his fourth 50-goal season there. Of course, his first one came back in 2018-2019 as a 23-year-old. And, three 50-goal seasons in 4 years. I mean, that is fantastic. That is MVP level. And he got his 51st goal of the season in overtime from Jeff Skinner. Don't know why I didn't list Jeff Skinner here for the assist, but Jeff Skinner assisting on the Draisaitl overtime winner. And of course, Draisaitl taking this one into his own hands. This video will be full of Draisaitl, folks. Do not worry. I mean, what a game from him last night. It was almost like he never left. Like in the chapter, like the chapter said. I mean, he was fantastic, phenomenal all night long. Didn't even look like he was harboring an injury whatsoever. And he said it was great. There's an urgent group over there in Calgary. Obviously, they're in a fight for that second wildcard spot, and so are we. So I thought it was great the way we stuck with it, and I thought that was really well done. They're not all pretty, but I thought we played a solid game. The tight games are always a little bit more special and a little bit more fun to be in. I thought we played well for the most part, hung in there, and sometimes you have to win those games. It was almost like a practice run for the inevitable Los Angeles Kings first round. Of course, Calgary, very tight defensive structure they have, pretty much clogged the neutral zone for the Oilers, and LA plays a very similar style. So if anything, Calgary helping Edmonton out, sort of a test run for what we are going to see near the end of April there. Of course, lots of credit to the Flames, but Leon Draisaitl, inevitable, and you saw that last night. As you can see there, Leon Draisaitl also set an NHL single-season record for 6 overtime goals. Of course, it's been, a little inflated due to 3-on-3s. You can see there in fourth place is Sebastian Aho of the Carolina Hurricanes, so he could be joining Leon Draisaitl in that, record-setting category there before the end of the season. But it just goes to show you how clutch Leon Draisaitl is this season. Not just this season, but, throughout his tenure as an Edmonton Oiler. Not just that, but first star of the game last day. 2 goals, 1 assist, plus throughout the night, 22 minutes. So, of course, there was no limit on how much, time on ice he had to endure last night. So, of course, the reins have been taken off Leon Draisaitl and Victor Arvidsson, third star of the game. I've been waiting for an Arvidsson heater, so hopefully we can get that closer to the end of the regular season. Shots on goal 29-28 in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. Hits 19-18, which seems very low for, again, a very playoff type atmosphere, playoff type game that we saw last night. Lots of physicality. We saw Jeff Skinner throw 6 hits. When have you ever seen Jeff Skinner throw 6 hits? I don't think I've ever seen that before. 32-24 in favor of Edmonton on the faceoff dot. Neither team getting it done on the power play. Calgary 0 for 3 in the Oilers, not converting on their single power play chance. But Darnell Nurse on Leon Draisaitl, just the presence that he has on the ice, in my opinion, he is the MVP, seeing what he's done so far this year. If we don't have a lot of the efforts in performances that he'd had, we're probably not seeing in the position that we're in. He's just been so valuable to us as a group, not just on the ice, but off the ice too, with his work ethic, his attention to detail, preparing for games, and he sets a really good example for a lot of guys in this room. I think, in my mind, it's not really a question. I mean, Darnell Nurse took the words right out of my mouth. I've seen lots of, candidates for the Hart Trophy, Nathan MacKinnon, Connor McDavid, but I mean, Leon Draisaitl, far and away, in my opinion, the Hart Trophy winner. Of course, he's been better than Connor McDavid this season, and that is saying quite a lot. But for the Oilers, when it comes to the hockey stat chart here, we'll get into a little bit more of the analytics before, looking ahead to what's next. Darnell Nurse, fantastic game from him, easily Edmonton's best defenseman last night. Had a few key plays there. Of course, the goal, or the play leading to the 2-2 tying goal by Draisaitl. They're breaking up that Calgary transition. Draisaitl, fantastic game, alongside with his line mates Arvidsson and Vasily Podkolzin there. Of course, that line has been together pretty much all season long, and the chemistry that's been formed is fantastic. Of course, some quiet games, but still the analytics, saying that they didn't have a bad game. I thought the Hyman, Hopkins, Skinner line was very quiet last night. Not a whole lot that they got done. Corey Perry, fantastic game from him. Of course, turning 40 years old in May, but still playing like he's a rookie, coming out of the London Knights with the Anaheim Ducks there. Ty Emberson and Brett Kulak. Again, a good majority of defense last night. Sure, they weren't bad, but they were just sort of treading water for a good chunk of the game, which isn't a bad thing, but sometimes you need a little more. Of course, Jake Wallman towards the bottom, which I think is kind of unfair, as he's still trying to find his footing in the Oiler lineup. But of course, when you're without, one of your best defensemen with Matisse Ekholm, it sort of throws everybody for a loop. So hopefully a healthy Oiler team means, a more formidable Oiler team. Of course, we need all those guys healthy leading into the playoffs. The Kings look like a good team this year. Of course, they lost last night to the Toronto Maple Leafs, but again, always a tough out for the Oilers. And of course, looking at the individual lines here, Hyman, Nugent-Hopkins, Skinner, like I said, wasn't too flashy last night. Wasn't drowning per se, but again, we've seen a lot better from that line, but anything involving Leon Draisaitl in the middle there, just fantastic. The line with him and Arvidsson and Podkolzin, and even a limited time there with Kasperi Kapanen in Corey Perry, and even, a minute 15 with Zach Hyman in Victor Arvidsson. So his presence was known, whoever you put Draisaitl with, and that is fantastic. Sort of jolting the rest of the lineup here for the Oilers, and individually, I mean, like I said, this is going to be a Draisaitl heavy episode here, folks. But I mean, 68% Corsi for percentage, 41 shot attempts with him on the ice. And of course, 3-0 the goal share for Draisaitl on the ice too. Not to mention, of course, like I said, Arvidsson, Nurse, Podkolzin, Hyman, Perry, Skinner, and Wallman, all the players above 50% Corsi for. So of course, they're still missing, Ekholm in McDavid, but you can see there the team starting to slowly find its wheels yet again, and it doesn't hurt when you throw, possibly the MVP back into this lineup. But of course, folks, Calvin Pickard, what a game from him last night. 929 save percentage. Had a few key stops there. Had a breakaway save on Joel Farabee, which led to the Corey Perry and Mikhail Backlund situation there. And of course, just lots of timely saves here for Cal Pickard heading into this one with a goal saved above expected of 1.31. So of course, folks, hug your goalie. Well-deserved goalie hug there from Darnell Nurse there after Draisaitl got the OT winner. It's kind of funny how most of the team went to Draisaitl, but you always see a select few go back to hug their goalie afterwards. It's just kind of funny how that works sometimes. But what's not funny, folks, is the fact the Oilers only played Calgary 3 times this year. The way the scheduling works, criminal how they only played the Flames 3 times, when in prior years, you know, the way the schedule used to work there with the Northwest Division, they'd face their divisional opponents 8 times a year. Of course, that was always, you know, the Flames or Canucks teams that had the West Coast Express, or the Flames teams with Iginla, Kiprusoff, Robin Regeer. The list goes on and on. But I mean, we need to see these divisional opponents more than 3 or 4 times a year. Just absolutely criminal the way the NHL has their scheduling. Of course, you know, they want to make sure every team goes to every arena at least once, but you have to find where the money is, and the money is in the divisional opponents. But speaking of divisional opponents, folks, hitting the road. Yes, the Oilers have a 4-game road trip, all against Pacific Division opponents, with, you know, maybe the first one being the most important, or, you know, second important here, with the Vegas Golden Knights, as they are leading the Pacific Division with 98 points. So if the Oilers want any chance of catching the Vegas Golden Knights, they need to beat them in regulation time. I mentioned earlier the Los Angeles Kings on a 2-game losing streak, losing last night 3-1 to the Toronto Maple Leafs. But the Oilers, their next game, no, this is not an April Fool's joke, folks. The Oilers and the Golden Knights at T-Mobile Arena, 9 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Mountain on Sportsnet, which should be a fantastic one. Of course, we'll have an update if there are any significant Oiler lineup changes heading into that one, as we will preview it. But, folks, we're getting into crunch time here, and it's going to be very exciting here on the channel. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and let me know your thoughts on last night's game. I'm very interested to see what you all have to say. Take care. Have a great rest of your Sunday and a great start to your week. I'm Matt.